Hello ducklings, my name is Sunnis and today is a bonus video actually, so I'm not sure how long it's gonna be, but I'm gonna put like two objects in the safe because I was tagged by Lady Rowena about a Goth tag, so I'm gonna put it whilst I do my makeup. And the makeup I'm gonna use is from the latest Gothic Beauty Box unboxing, issue 59, where we got this green palette. But first we take the intro and see you soon. So, I'm Sunnis, I'm a Swedish goth, and it's early morning. Terrible weather today. It's rainy and very cold and hard winds, and I've already been out food shopping for the week, so I'm not gonna go out directly more today. But I'm gonna do a look. I'm probably gonna use a wig because I don't think the green look gonna be that good with the rest. But at the same time, I'm gonna try answer on 10 different questions that was in a Goth tag that I got from Lady Rowena. I'm gonna put her video in a link in the description box so you can go and check her out too, and maybe see the per person she tagged because she tagged 4, and I'm gonna tag 4 myself, but I haven't thought really yet which people or YouTubers I'm gonna tag. And of course I will need some coffee, and it's this not nightmare Corpse Bride. It's still Tim Burton, so it's early morning, so that's why I have Nightmare Before Christmas too. So I need my coffee. I really need my coffee. But because the weather, I didn't do anything with my face. So we're first gonna prep a little with this stuff because I'm a little reddish, but that is not because some other things, is because I got veins that was destroyed of an earlier medication, and that's why I look much reddish, especially on my nose and just on my cheeks or something like that, I could tell. And yeah, I can look reddish for other reasons too, but the main red reason, if I'm not going red because I'm warm or something like that, so that is because the blood vessels is destroyed of the medication or some reason, because I'm usually a very cold person and I had fear problems, and when I started to take that one, so something happened and I got at least temporarily a bit warmer, and that also affected my blood veins for some reason, so they decided they wanted to play up. And I'm not gonna use a foundation from Gothic Beauty, so I'm gonna use just from Swedish, a little bigger in the brand. Is actually, you can buy that in ordinary shops too, it's Isadora. So I'm gonna use that. It's a lighter one, some of the lightest ones, because it's a little harder with my skin tone to find something that don't look like I tried to tan myself. So we're gonna, for a change, add that on to make everything pop a little more, maybe. I don't know, but we do our best. I'm 57, so don't judge me. I might not have the most extreme style either. Don't judge me. I'm still an elder goth. And I've been there since the 80s too, but I'm not gonna say too much because we still have those questions, but I want to get rid of those little messier parts for the moment, so we don't have to deal with that. I'm not sure I'm gonna need an eye base because now I put foundation even on my eyelids, so maybe I don't need to have that. It's maybe if I need to do something, if I do some cut crease or something, you never know with those fancy words. But yes. And I don't use a ring light today, it's just a makeup mirror that I bought from place, so I could see a little better hopefully. But sometimes it might be that I have to go to the bigger mirror and then on my palms and do that if I discover that my hands are not working proper, because sometimes I need more support, and I can realize very fast when it comes to doing an eyeliner or something if I can do it in front of the camera or not. It's very hard for me to actually film that because it's something that affects me day from day. I have fibromyalgia and I have finger handicap after a big traffic accident 2001. So I have some issues, and I even nowadays have this problem with my wrist after an accident at work too for some years ago. That's still not 100% good, but at least it's better. I still have problem in the shoulder too about it, so but I use protection for it, that type of wrist protection to try to be nice to my wrist at least. So yeah, I'm mumbling. This is gonna be a long video, so you better take some snacks or whatever, and if you have something you gonna eat soon, so do that too. Because I don't want you to be too hungry, if you know what I mean. I'm probably gonna have to eat when I'm done with this, because now is I had just my breakfast, or my second breakfast, because I call it breakfast because that's the one I do when we are off, and I eat the same as travel. Maybe not the same amount of things, but we ate the same things. So I did the breakfast, and then I enjoyed that. I was watching a colleague Gothy's live stream she had, and that was nice too, to actually be catching her up, because she lives in Las Vegas, so it's a bit of time reference there. So I'm happy that she actually didn't finish the stream when I went on, because he started to say something, but then I was thinking, oh no, I've been away food shopping and that early in the morning to avoid all the people, and it's from the COVID, so I think it's much more easier to go and shop and not have all the screaming kids and people standing in the way, and you know, all that other stuff that can go on. It's bad enough when you have to deal with it on other situation when you can't pick your fight, if you know what I mean. So now I think that looks okay-ish. So we're gonna put that away, and I think we're gonna do the contour. And I usually don't do too hard either. I usually do like I do when off work. When I go to work, I only have eyebrows and little mascara, that's all. But when I'm off work, even when I don't add directly makeup, I usually put on eyebrows, put on mascara, and then I also contour, and sometimes even put on a nice blusher. It depends on my mood, and if I'm in the right mood and everything, and not gonna go out in too shitty weather, so it's gonna be a mess. No, I almost swore. So then I also put on more makeup and that type of thing. So if I'm in the makeup mood, I'm gonna add makeup, of course, because I do enjoy makeup too. But when you get older, you sometimes learn, Maria. I thought when I was younger that I shouldn't be able to. I was working in a place when it was more free how you look like, and I could wear any t-shirt I wanted. So I had my extreme t-shirts, even the one for Cradle Filth. And people that love Cradle Filth know the motives on them, so they're maybe not the ones that you could think of people go to work with. Oops, I dropped my brush. Not good. So yeah, I used to have that too, and I had more extreme looking hair. So I have all the synthetic reds and that for a long time. I even had black hair, and I don't have as much hair now still after my surgery, and it's 2 years since I did my gastric bypass, and I lost a lot of hair. It took some months before that hair loss started, but it took very hard on my hair, and still growing up things, but I'm not sure how much I'm gonna get back, because I've reached that type of age too when you can have other type of problem when the hair goes thinner and everything. So I can't say I'm not the best before dates, you know, if you could say so. I'm not the newest one. But yeah, now we've done the prime things, so usually in this stage I'm gonna take some coffee, and I'm gonna pause. It's not gonna be too hard to edit this one too. So I take some sip again. And before I start answering on the questions, because I know this is gonna take a little longer time, so I have time to start with it. So I thought we do our eyebrows first, and I usually like to do this. I'm not gonna tell so much about, see if you can catch up. And it's actually from the pens, it's sprayed. I don't know if you have it in other countries, but I usually do like eyelashes, glue, nail things and that type of things, but I also do this type of things for coloring your eyebrows or I'm gonna see if I can do it in front of that because I don't see them well either and I can't have contact, so I always start with that and then I try to decide the shape. I usually have the similar shape. I'm so boring sometimes, but I have a big scar here, so I try to at least take advantage of that. And I usually get that side better because this one is that, because I have other wrinkles or whatever you should call it that often destroy. So I usually don't get sisters, I usually got long way cousins or something, but I try to make them as good as possible. And sometimes it's not in the same day, but I usually fix that after. And then I try to decide how thick or thin I'm gonna have for the day. Sometimes I have very thin ones, but then I have days when I'm thinking, oops, that didn't go well. I am a little shaky by my hands today too, I can see that, because that's when, if this side starts to go bad, I know my hand day is not the best. And then I try to fill in. You can have different type of methods to do this on, but this is the way I usually do. And yeah, you can clean up the edges too, but I try to avoid to do that as much as possible, but many times I still need to take a little cleanup, or I hope it's not too bad, so at least I can still get away with it. And then I try to do something similar. And I'm left-handed too, so I have some difficulty sometimes to get it in the same angle. So I just do the best. And because I'm not standing now in front of the mirror I'm used to, because I usually stand up when I do my makeup anyway, so it's not that. It's just that I don't stand in a way I'm used to. But I think we can say at least okay-ish if you don't go too close. What do you think? And before we go further, I'm gonna add some mascara, not that much because I'm gonna use false eyelashes anyway, but this is the one I usually use from Maybelline. I know it's maybe not the best one, but that's the one I prefer. I tried different ones, but for some reason I don't like them, and this one is the one I like best of the one I've tried. And mascara can be very expensive too to buy sometimes, and no matter what people tell you, it don't always work for you. And I don't have the longest eyelashes like some people have either from start, and mine is very tiny in the lower part too. So I think this brush works best for me. I can still make mistakes. I'm not sure the format itself, but it's the brush that can make the big difference. I know I tried different type of brushes or wands or whatever you call them, and try to get a result, and in most places it's end up, but then I'm going back to this one anyway. But we're just gonna add some so we have a little black, because I don't have natural colors when it comes to my hair and to my eyelashes and eyebrows. I'm very blonde in that case, so I need all I can get to fake it up so people can see that I haven't anything. When I was a young kid, people said when we had swimming lessons, like the second or third lesson into the schedule in school, I didn't put on any makeup, but every time people was telling me that I looked sick, and I said I'm not sick, I just don't have makeup. So I know that just to add those two things that I have now is enough to make the difference if people think I'm look sick or not. So I think I'm gonna try to answer some questions, and I had to put them down on a paper. And sorry if it's warm because the paper was under the I forgot the word for it, but it doesn't matter. And it's the Goth tag, of course, and it's Lady Rowena that tagged me, so thank you very much for this, and I hope you're gonna like my answers too. Sorry for being a long video, but sometimes you want to do it longer too. And the first question is, how long have you been goth? So I think I'm gonna continue. Gonna see, do I really need base? Because I usually use this one and I don't have much of it, and I can't directly find any bases. I try to find it, and so I guess I have to order from UK to get it, because a few places that sold it before I stopped selling it, so I'm a little disappointed. So yeah, how long have you been goth? Hard question, because I don't even know when I actually heard the first music for it, because that's the way it started. Because remember, I'm a Generation X, I'm born in 1968, and I guess most people that follow me are not as old. I know we have elder goths or elder people that is not goths, of course, that also are watching me, that know how it was back then, because we didn't have internet, we didn't have computers, we didn't have a lot of the things the kids of today, definitely not mobile phones. It was a landline that we had to fight with all the others in the family to use, and often have siblings or parents that told us off. So it was not the same to discover things. We had the radio, and we had cassette tapes, and we had vinyl and things, but everything took very much longer time. But we usually hang together, different type of kids. In my case, from a little village outside Borås. All the alternative kids that was not the mainstream one was hanging together, so of course we listened to that. And of course I was very interested in music already from start, because music have always been a big deal for me. And yeah, it's Slashy Doodle I'm gonna try, but then, like you can see in this palette, they don't have any white, so I'm actually gonna go to the first Lashy Doodle eye palette I got, because they actually have a white, and this is in more purple tone. So I think of those two, I actually prefer this one. I would like to see what they should do with like a blue version, or even better, a very classic one with grey and black and white shades in it, if they can do some magic with that, because that's the colors I usually used when I was younger. So yeah, back to the thing before we lose track again. So I don't really know when. You see, how long have you been goth? So I don't know how long I've been, but to tell when I knew about the word goth, that was when I was much older, already some years old, because that was like in the late 80s, maybe into the 90s. I think I already knew it in the last bit of the 80s. But remember, we didn't have internet and that type of things. We couldn't get that in our magazines that didn't directly write. In the few we had, it was often metal band and that type of things in them, and sometimes the popular 80s music. And if you're a fan of 80s music, I love 80s music too, of course, because I'm a kid from teenager and every young adult during those years. So yeah, I like them. So I guess it's around that time I at least found out the word goth. But before, I did already listen to the music, so that's when it really started for me. But I loved black clothes, even if my parents didn't like me to wear it. And when I still lived home, I didn't have as much choice to do whatever I wanted. So I say that to everybody that is younger, when you ask about this thing about your parents. Remember, one day you move from home and you will be grown up, then you can do whatever you want. But as long as you live there, you might have to compromise a bit. But you can always hope that you can get an understanding, or try to educate your parents and family about it, so they know what it is all about. So they don't think you're a Satanist or whatever, because that is not. It's about music. It's not about being some evil creature or something that people think. So I should say probably late 80s. I definitely knew the word goth, but I was goth way before. But I didn't know about it. I loved music already. So, I'm gonna pause again, so it's gonna be... So question 2. How were you introduced to goth? Like I said, it was like before. I didn't know about that term, so I can't really say that I was introduced. So now we're gonna see what we're gonna do here, because now we're gonna need to use this, and I'll show this again for you. It is pretty for being green, but this is definitely outside my comfort zone. But we need to start with some type of transfer color or whatever. I'm just not really sure which one I'm gonna use. So I wonder if I'm gonna use the Bog Witch, it's called. I have a brush from the latest box too, but I don't want to use it for that color. I'm gonna take one of my usual one. I don't have fancy. So is the Bog Witch we're gonna try to use. So yeah, when it comes to that bit, I can't tell really that how that thing went. So I'm gonna see. I don't standing in the same position like I usually do, so I have to put this away and help, because I have hooded eyes and little looser skin, because my eyes have an eye condition so they can swell up, so the skin is not like on a youngster really either, so I need to help the nature a little with stretching it out. Some people say don't do that when you do makeup, but I do it. It works for me at least. You find your way, and you don't have to follow all the rules as long as you like the end result. That's what I'm saying. And yeah, this is very pigment, I can tell, even with the little auto gone, and it blends well, at least what I can tell. So we're gonna take some more. We can do it on the other. I can never do one eye at a time like some people do, so I have to do that. And if it not look like it's very much pigment on the brush, it's me that is little. I don't put on too much at the same time. I think it's because I'm a little terrified for this type of color, because it's definitely not my color scheme I should reach after. But for St. Patrick's Day and other things, and if you are a person that is into green, so of course this is gonna be an amazing one, that I can tell for sure. And question number 3. What Gothic subgenre would you put yourself in? I don't really want to put me inside just one, because it's a little moody too, but if I need to choose, I prefer Gothic rock, because that's how everything started for me, and of course dark wave, new wave, and you know all those things, because that was big under the 80s, even synth wave and that type of things. So, but if I need to, when it comes to the music itself, and I need to choose just one, that should probably be Gothic rock, because that's how it started. I'm not gonna mention my favorite band now, even if the most people that follow me already know it, because I know it's coming in the questions later, because I've seen the questions, you know, even heard it from Lady Rowena's answers. So yeah, like I said, I don't want to limit myself to one, because it's a little about my mood, and of course you don't have to just listen to goth to be a goth. That I also want to point out. You don't have to do that all the time, but the main thing is listen to goth, and then you can be goth, and then you can use all the other creativity things if you want to show that for others too, that are sometimes assumed being goth, but that's not the whole thing. I still think the music is the most important base. What are we gonna do more then? Oops, sorry. And then we come to number 4. What do you believe to be the basis of the Gothic subculture? And I just mentioned that. I think music must be the base, because without the music we shouldn't have the Gothic subculture, and don't have the Gothic clubs and the Gothic fashion and that. Remember, the Gothic fashion was not about Kilsa and Dolls Kill and Punk Rave and whatever the brands are named today, because we didn't have much back then, and some of us didn't even have directly thrift shopping and that type of things too. but depending on what we could find in the shops. Sometimes we couldn't even find anything. Sometimes you needed to be creative on your own and put together. And it was not just all about black. I just want to tell you, in the earlier years, people could be very colorful too. So what should we experiment with now? Should we go into that little deeper Toad familiar? I'm a little curious. It's a little murky. Can we say that? But it should deepen up a bit here. So yeah, I think music is important, but of course it's a base is also that you're willing to accept. I think acceptance is an important base too, and being kind to people, because you don't know what people go through and you don't know their lives. And to be a goth, especially when you are more visible goth, you should know, and most people probably also experienced, how bad people are meeting you or assume things about you. So I think that is some basis, that respect, understanding, acceptance, but the music comes first, and then you can have the rest, because not everyone is interested in fashion. That's why they don't bring up that. Not everybody is interested in makeup, and you can live in a country. Remember that in some countries too, that you can actually be killed for looking a certain way, or happen other things too. And sometimes even when they live in a country like mine, if they come from another country with other rules, they still can have family that don't accept the fact that the games or the life rules have changed to another way where they are. They still try to live the old ways, if you know what I mean. So yeah, so that's, I think that's a good basis, that you take that with you. So I'm gonna pause this again, and as you see, it's gonna be a very long video, but I'm not gonna do a fancy, not sure how many colors I'm gonna use either. I just want to try to do a look that is actually outside my comfort zone too, and try to use some of the new products here just to see how they works. So you can see it's a very darkish, a little grungy, that green. But I think I prefer that one before the clear one, but it's up to you what you like. So what are we gonna try more then? I think I want to go in and try Doom Dust to darken up even more in the edge here. It's like a brownish, for me it looked like a brownish color. But I'm not gonna add it on a lot, just darken up here on the outside of my eyelid. So it's not gonna be that much. I'm thinking about the way to take in the other colors here from there. Try to insert as much as possible without going over the top, maybe. If you're looking for more extreme styles, I have friends that do much more extreme looks. Most of the time, I do sometimes, but for daily or for my normal goth state, I do more than the classic type of things. That we call the old school goth. Old trad goth, not the trad goth that is nowadays, because it's too clean, it's too extreme compared with what most of us did back then. It's more like the 80s and 90s, normal trad goth, old school style. And 5, what do you dislike about being goth? I don't dislike anything to be a goth, it's more about a dislike with other people, maybe, in that case. Gonna see what we're gonna try. This is a hard deal. What do you think? So it's not that I dislike, but I dislike the thing that people assume a lot about me or judge me because I'm different or looking different or like something that they don't like, because I'm more darkly inclined compared with a lot of other people. Should we try our autumn number and put that in the beginning here? And that's why we create a little more autumn, because now it's October, it's spooky month, Halloween coming up, and I'm gonna soon start decorate for Halloween. I was thinking to maybe start cleaning, because we have done other project with other computer table, because I was hoping to get better place there for when it comes to streams and that type of thing. So it's gonna be a little easier for me, and maybe look a little better for others too when I get a little comfy with everything in that type of way. So plus it's better working space if I need to use my computer too, because now I have a much better computer too when it comes to that type of thing. So it's gonna be a little more fun to use it compared with my old one. It's a nice shine on it, not directly in the color I like, but what the heck, we need to sometimes do something. And when it comes to cleaning off your makeup, I use those. This is still damp, so I'm gonna just use it to take off my fingers. So we're gonna try something else. We have used that one, we have used that one, we have used that, we have used that. So we've used 4 so far. I don't think I'm gonna go to the light lime morning moss. Crescent moon is a color that look appealing for me when it comes to at least other type of looks, maybe not today. Then we got witch brew and lucky potion. It is some glitter type of things. I think I should like to try witch's brew actually. I'm not sure how it goes on, but I'm not into it using glitter that much really, but I'm gonna try to tap it on. I don't think it goes that well, but it's a soft on the finger, but I'm gonna tap it on here to get it in place. And then soon gonna shake up what next question gonna be, but it's actually very pretty for being that. It's a little more a deeper green, so I do like that one, but I'm not a glittery person directly, and most of cases I see that it want to, because I have all the skin, so it don't stuck in the same. You can put on some glitter glue too to make it a little better. But we're gonna check the questions. 6. What do your parents think of it? Now I only can talk about one, because my dad is not with us anymore. He died in cancer for some years ago. But in the beginning, I think they are like the most people, especially from my generation. They were not exactly happy with my choice. And my sisters and my mom especially still don't accept really that. But I don't have contact with them anymore. I choose to cut my band. And in all the years, for some years ago, I also found out about my half brother that is adopted, so he's not the part, we have the same mom, but he was adopted before I was born. So he's more like me, like an alternative. He played in like a black metal bands, and he liked to take photos. He worked as that, and he also liked motorcycles, and I have been riding motorcycle too till I got health condition that started to affect that a little too much. So I thought that I can't do horse riding or riding motorcycles anymore because my balance disappeared, and that's not good. I'm gonna wash off my fingers because it's glitter. But my dad accepted me more before he died, so he at least was more down off, and he could even notice if I wasn't completely dressed in black and come with that, oh, that clothing is not black, do you know that? Yes, that I know that it's not black for a change. So that tells how often I was black dressed really. If your father is telling you that you don't wear black clothes. So for some people they think that I only do it for the camera. No, my father shouldn't point out if I had an item in my clothing that wasn't black if I didn't dress black. So that's why. But I think I want to try still that little video it crazy when it comes to the colors at least. So we're gonna try this one, but I need to soften it up because it's a little bit like it's melting into your finger. Because yeah, we put it in here in between, like a little highlighter maybe between the two. I should have maybe put on a glitter glue in between because of my eyelid and my major skin, to make it help it stick in another way. And it's not like ordinary eyeshadows that you blend them together in that type of way, so you need to play a game in between. But yeah, my father did accept me much more, but I always been with daddy's girl too. I was not that girly back then either. When I was younger, I was hanging with the guys and I thought girls could be really scary. Yeah, you heard it right. Girls could be scary. And I didn't directly dress in dresses too, if I didn't have to or forced to it when I was younger. It took some years before I started with that. So I preferred to using pants or jeans. So it's a bit sparkly, isn't it? A little more colorful than I maybe used to go for. This was not that much. But I have some for under. I just wonder if I should do it with purpose on the other eye, because like you see, it can be a nice effect too. But it's that darker. But I don't want to have it like a thick layer either. I want to just have it like that. If I can get away with just adding a little under. See how much it was on the other side. Because sometimes you put it up a little on the edges, just like an accent type of things. If you can, I don't know if the camera spotted up. I can do a little more up here too. This one with purpose. This is kind of a bit different compared to what I usually do. I'm just gonna clean up a little lower down because we don't have to have it all the way down to the mouth, do we? So yeah, my daddy was a good man when it comes to that type of things, even if he was more like Elvis Presley and now I forgot his name. Fats Domino, those artists. He was very much into those. He liked rock and roll and old American cars. And in Sweden we call that people for raggare. But not that type of raggare today that goes in a newish cars that look like rats. Rat cars or whatever you call it, that it looks very shabby. He preferred that. If you think about Chevrolet and that type of big cars from 50s and 60s. So 7, eyebrows or no eyebrows. That's really not been a big issue for me because, like I said, very light eyebrows from Star, and I think we're gonna need a blusher too. What should we use? Oops, that one we should use. And I started to run out with some of my colors. I'm gonna use just this ordinary one. So what was the question now? My memory, eyebrows. I needed to repeat the question for my eyes. So this haven't been that big because I don't have very light eyebrows, and because on this side I have a big scar since I was around 2-3 years old. I was watching Pippi Longstocking on the TV. I was a very wild kid, more wild than the most girls probably, and even some of the boys, because sometimes my parents said it should be much more easy to have a boy. So that tells my life. So I was jumping around because I thought nothing bad could happen to me, and unfortunately it did. And I dated the corner of the glass table that was standing with the sofa, and that eyebrow went in pieces and I got a big scar. So most of that eyebrow is actually gone. So what I usually did was make this more narrow so it looks a little more like that. But because it's very light, so I usually draw my eyebrows anyway over it. So I had friends that could comment me when I was standing in the sun and screaming out when people were looking at us and wondering, are they crazy or something? Oh gosh, you have eyebrows. And other people saw those black lines because I had really black, I used black eyeliner back then when I did it. We didn't have those advanced other stuff. So yeah, they were looking at because she got black things over her eyes. And I was thinking, of course I have eyebrows. But that was because the sun was shining in through the big roof windows and that. And the blonde started to glitter, so she saw my hair standing up from the black, and that was she shouted because he thought I was shaving the ones I have. Nowadays I take off some bits of it and even try that, but I usually keep a little bit there like a reference where I'm gonna start adding my, because I still have a little issue with like doing when somebody, some of the goths are moving up the eyebrows very high and that type of things, because it's never felt right for me. But that is how you feel about it, is my feeling. But sometimes when you do a certain look, you need to go outside that thing too. And I find it very hard because I'm not used to it. So that's also outside the comfort zone. And yeah, we're gonna put some eyeliner. I have two. I have the new one that is in green with an ink stamp on it. And I have an older one that have also the stamp with a star, but it's in black, that I usually use different black, but it's from Leisure Doodles too. So we're gonna continue with that, but first I'm gonna pause again. And you wonder why I paused. That is because the edit program I use, if I need to add something, it don't like when I have a very long section, so I can't see what I'm doing, and then I can't do the editing in the way I want to. If I want to add pictures or something, or text or that, or type of way, I can't control the episode, if you know what I mean, or that bit of the video. So I better do it in parts, because then you can't tell me off about that thing. And then we come to 8. What is your favorite band? People that knows me know that I'm gonna say it now. Sisters of Mercy. That's how I fell down in the rabbit hole. And now I'm gonna try to see if I can do this, or if I need to leave for the camera. I think I'm gonna have to do it because I'm too shaky and it's glitter, so I'll be back when I put on my black at least. So I do some eyeliner. It's only the black one, and I thought we could play around with this new one. See if I can get it up. Of course, my fingers don't want to cooperate, and the parts say, I'm not gonna do this for you. Typically, so typically. And this is how they look so far. Very different compared with what I usually do. I'm gonna think I keep the package there because I usually don't use green. I'm not sure how I'm gonna introduce, if I'm gonna use the tip there, but we do have something else. And we got this little ink, so now I'm gonna see which side it is. Where should I put that one? Oh, you need to be careful. I got to do some that, but you can always clean it up. But here you have to look where which side you put, so you got it that way. I still need to do a little cleanup, but it's a pretty little one. I can do some more. Just have to move. Oh, it's a pretty one. And that's what caused my eyeliner is not siblings either. But I don't care. We can have different ones. Doesn't matter. I should want to try to have it. Oh, that was wrong angle. No, we didn't go as planned, so now we need to clean that away. And try it again. Look how it is and try to keep it that way. It's not 100% correct, but it works. At least I have integrated that one. And because it's no black in the dark coal black, so I'm gonna take from the other Lush Doodle the brown blackish. It's almost the same, but it's a little darker, and that is just to help my eyeliner next. Both to stand out a little better in other way. I don't like that I have my creases in my eyes, so the glitter is don't coping 100 when it comes to going in closer. Oh yeah, I need to touch it up again. But then I usually go and soften up the black, so you don't have to do it perfect because you're still doing this other bit. But yeah, we are all different, and the skin are different depending on age too. But this is an easy way to make it look goth a little more. And you can also drag it down. I've seen some people that do it that way. So now we're gonna go to another question, because we start to get our look together now. Your opinion on Marilyn Manson? Tough one, very tough one. And people that know more about Marilyn Manson know that Emily Boo did a really good video about it. And if I should be honest, if I go back to the old music around mob scene and those songs, I did love the music. I thought it was cool back then. But, now the big but, the things that is said about himself, not the music. If you take that, cut that out of everything, how he treated people. And when I had heard, especially when Emily Boo digged more deep into everything, no matter what people were saying, good or bad stuff about him, that is, if he did all those things, he's not a part of my life anymore. That's all I'm saying. That was disgusting if that's true. I don't know, I wasn't there, I haven't followed any of the courts, and I don't think he's been in a court and being convicted, is that the word you use for it? So I can't tell that, but as long as you have those, and it's not just one or two or three, it's several over years. So that means that it must be some part that is true too. Yeah, people can change, they can change. But it still happened today, and it's still people that now cut him off totally. So I should say the music from the old times, when I still loved him, yes, I love the music. I can still enjoy to listen to some of that. But the person Marilyn Manson is a big no-no for the moment. At least if he don't come up with proof that those things was just fake. That's what I'm saying. He needs to prove that all those people that say those stuff, even people that play with him, not just the victims himself, if it don't show up that something else is going on. So, now we come to the last question. What were your baby bat days like? And I already mentioned that. I didn't have like baby bat years that baby bats have today, because we didn't have internet, we didn't have mobile phones, we didn't have all that type of stuff. So it was not just the same, but the difference between being new and being young back then, that was that we didn't hang together like people do today. People do it online. Back then, all the people that was alternative, not just the goths, it was the punkers, it was metalhead, it was the synth heads, like we call the music they like, the Depeche Mode and similar. That was more synthwave, we call them syntare. So all the people that was listening to something else that was not the mainstream kids, and we were a much smaller group compared with them. Even if the metal people and hard rock people was the biggest one, and punk was very much growing back in the 80s when I was a kid. So it was still that group that was hanging together and have to defend ourselves for the other one, because we were the freaks. we were the weirdos. So it was different, but we were hanging together, we did things together, we listened to music together, we shared the music together, we did mixtape together and give to our friends and that type of thing. So if you like someone, you did a special tape for that person too, and hope that the person should listen to it and like it too, or maybe fall in love with you. Boom, who knows? Music can have that effect too. So I'm gonna finish up with lips and eyelashes, because I think I'm not gonna use much more makeup, else this video gonna be way too long. It's already very long. So I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna put on the other clothes, even if this still works. I'm gonna put on a wig because I don't think this hair color directly suits with those green shades. So be back soon, and yeah, see how I look like that. So I'm back, Darkwings, and this is my final look when I'm dressed up and put on the wig that I think go much better with the makeup. And yeah, this is actually a skirt and all warmers I made from a dress. I also did a voodoo doll of that dress, and that comes next week on Saturday on a new video. So I got a skirt and all warmers, and also got this big key to keep away all the gatekeepers from the goth subculture. Well, that. And it's my own jewelry. This is the cool earrings I got. Much more sparkling one inside. And yeah, this is the hair clip from Gothic Beauty Box too. So this is the final look. I put pictures on it. I try to keep it. The glitter don't stay that well on my eyelid because I'm older. So I think maybe just have that like a little extra. But I did enjoy the small anks. You can see them, and this is the look, and yeah, this is the complete. And I actually put on some shoes too to make it completely, because some people complain that I don't wear shoes in my try-ons and that type of things, because we usually don't wear shoes inside when we live in Sweden. But I had never used those shoes outside yet, so I thought I could at least put them on this time. And yeah, this was all in this bonus video. Gonna be a very long one, so hope you enjoy it. For new ones, please consider to subscribe, press the notification bell at the same time. All darkness and returners, love you all. Thank you for your support. You're the best. And give me likes and comments. But if you don't like my comments, you can go to the next one, or you just help my algorithm. Anyway, else, stay safe, stay weird, and be nice to each other. And I'm gonna put down the names in my description box for the one I tag, and hope gonna see videos with those people. Love you all. Thanks for watching. Bye.